In this episode, I go over my top 10 picks for New Comic Book Day, July 28th, 2021. What is going on, everybody? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for watching another episode of mine where I go over my top 10 picks for New Comic Book Day, July 28th, 2021. The time is flying by. Can't believe we're like halfway through the summer. But I hope everybody's well. I appreciate you. If you're here right now, make sure you smash the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and welcome. I appreciate everybody taking the time. If you're here live right now in the premiere chat, I also appreciate you hanging out there as well. If you're looking to catch these premieres, if you're watching this replay later on, they're always at 12:30 Eastern time every Thursday. So make sure you swing by. But either way, if you're watching the replay, thank you either way. Appreciate that. So I have 10 books that I want to go over today. As always, this is just another great week for comics. I always say this is the best time to be reading comic books. This is the best time to be in this hobby. In my opinion, I'm just really enjoying all the different creators and stories that are coming out. So before I get into the books, I do want to start to take some time to give a shout out each and every week as I do these, because this is just, it's a platform that, I obviously talk a lot about the books, but I want to include the community. And so I thought this would be a great way for me to kind of continue to kind of spread the love about, certain channels. And, there's so many great channels out there. So for this week, I'm going to start with my first shout out. And that's going to go to my good friend, Sean, aka Slim Comics and More. He has been doing so many great things out on YouTube right now. I love Sean's live streams that he does every Monday. I know recently he started doing Q&As with community members, which, me, I love that kind of stuff, that kind of content, highlighting other individuals in the community. So huge shout out to Sean. You've been such a great support, and I'm glad to see that you, Sean, if you're watching this later, that you're over on Instagram. As I always encourage everybody, whether you're on YouTube or just Instagram or whatever, to be on both platforms, because there's so many great community members throughout, and it's a good way, Instagram especially is a good way to kind of keep the communication going. So just if you guys are not following Sean, I put his information in the description below. Again, that's Slim Comics and More, aka Sean. Again, Sean, dude, keep it up, keep up all the great work, and hopefully I run into you at some point, maybe at a Comic-Con or something like that, because yeah, you've just been a great friend. So that being said, I'm going to jump into the books now. And again, I would just like to remind everybody that these are my top 10 personal books that I'm looking forward to next week for New Comic Book Day. There's no like speculation to them or anything. These are just what I think to be great titles and books that I'm just enjoying, or they're books for the first time, issue number ones that are just starting to come out that I'm looking forward to. So just keep that in mind. If you guys don't see a book on here, or you think I'm missing one, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Would love to know what you all are reading. Always looking for recommendations, as I always state. So yeah, feel free to leave a comment. But anyways, let's jump into the books here with my number 10 pick, and that is going to be the last book you'll ever read, issue number 1. This is a Vault Comics book written by Cullen Bunn, and I had to add it to the list. This caught my eye right as I was flipping through here. The artist, by the way, Layla Lees, she is also the artist that's going to be working on the Mother of Madness book that I talked about last week. So I'm really excited for this. Cullen Bunn just doing some really great stuff right now on all of his like horror type stories that he's putting out there. So if I look into this real quick, it says, civilization is a lie. Hidden deep in our genes is the truth, and it is slowly crawling its way to the surface. Olivia Cade knows the truth and has become the prophet of the coming collapse. Her book's satire, let me see. Her book, Satire, is an international bestseller and is being blamed for acts of senseless violence and bloodshed all over the world. Olivia's own life is in danger from those who have read her work. Determined to conduct a book tour, she hires security professional Connor Wilson to act as her bodyguard. She only has one requirement: he cannot read her work. So really interesting concept that basically this writer coming out with this book that yeah, like I said, people are essentially dying from this thing, and she needs her bodyguard to protect her, and even he cannot read this book as a requirement of being around her. So really interesting. Cullen Bunn, he's just coming up with a lot of great concepts. Really enjoying a lot of the stories he's putting out there. So I had to make sure that I had this on my list. So that is my number 10 pick of the week, the last book you'll ever read. Let's see, going in with number 9, I am going to go with Freaks Know issue number 3. This is a book that I did not think I was going to continue reading. I wasn't sure what to think, to be honest, after I read that first issue. This is, I think that this book is an acquired taste in a sense. It may not be for everybody. It is not your typical comic book, that's for sure. It is very trippy, very out there. I've heard some interviews from the writer, and he's described it as this is something that this projects what goes on in his head, I think was one of the quotes that he had mentioned, Kevin Radadelli. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really like the structure of how the panels lay out in this book. It is so different than what you see anywhere else, especially with like the unique changes in the font and the writing, like the actual, you know, text that's in the book is very, very different. Last issue was a wild one. I don't even know how to describe this book other than it's about this individual who is he's like tripping. Essentially, he's like tripping, and you can't really tell what's real and what's not. And I think that's what makes this book work so well. So there are scenes like even in the first issue where he's like having full-on conversations with like a beer can, and things like that. And so issue 2, he sets off on this kind of fantasy mission to go save this princess, and it's wild. It's completely wild. So like I said, I'm going to continue to read this because I am just very entertained by this book, but it may not be for everybody, so I don't know. Check out issue 1 if you haven't, you know, been following along with this, but I do say I'm enjoying it. It's out there. Yeah, that's how I'll put it. But so Freak Snow issue number 3, that's going to be my number 9 pick of the week. Let's go into my number 8, which is going to be Good Luck, issue number 2. I enjoyed this first one, and overall, I did enjoy just the general concept. I think the first issue I needed a little bit more, but with how the concept of this whole world became or is starting or has been introduced, I really enjoyed it. Essentially, it's the idea that there are these two gods that have like I guess come to the world or are in the world, and people have been either blessed with having luck, or there are some who have no luck at all, and there are some, yeah, basically they are on this mission. Man, I forget where it even led in the first issue, now that I think about it. But anyways, I really am I'm a fan of anything that has to do with like the idea of luck. So this book from Boom Studios, Good Luck, definitely hit home. So the writer is Matthew Ehrman, and the artist is Stefano Simeone. So I definitely I remember the artwork being great in the first issue. It's only the second issue now, so easy to jump in if you missed the first issue. I would say to go back and check it out, because I mean, yeah, this was a book that I enjoyed, and I will be picking up issue number 2. So that is Good Luck, issue number 2 by Boom Studio. All right, so my number 7 pick of the week, I am going with Chariot, issue number 5, and this book has been amazing. I really, really enjoyed it, and I've been on this since day one, and I know there's now a lot of hype. If you haven't heard about it, I think it got signed to a deal or option that there's going to be something in the future for this. I'm just pumped. It's so well deserved too. Really excited for the writer, who is Brian Hill, also Priscilla Traits, doing the artwork. She is amazing. If you guys don't follow Priscilla over on Instagram, I highly recommend it. She just puts out some amazing artwork, and very talented, very, very talented. So this is the AWA Upshot. If you guys have not been following along with Chariot, I do recommend picking up, I guess, the trade at this point, because it's only a 5-issue set, and this is the last one. So you know, I imagine we'll see the trade in the next couple of weeks to a month or so. But man, Brian Edward Hill, he's been doing so good with this. I really do enjoy this series, and the artwork is just stunning. So if you're not on this, I do recommend it. If not, go get the trade when it comes out, because it's that damn good. Let's see, number 6. That was my number 7 pick of the week. Chariot, issue number 5. Next up is my number 6 pick, and I'm going with an issue number 1. This is Superman, Son of Kilel, which I have never read a Superman book before. Let me just say that again. I've never read a Superman book before. And so the reason that I'm giving this a shot right now is because it is Tom Taylor. And if you guys know how I feel about Tom Taylor, I love Tom Taylor's work. So this is definitely something I'm excited for the writer. I'm excited to see what he ends up doing with this particular title. I don't know anything other than the obvious basics of Superman and maybe some of the things that I've read in like the Justice League and things like that back, you know, a while back. So really, I'm not caught up on anything. So I'm just kind of diving into this head first and kind of like I did with Nightwing. And I talked about Nightwing a lot last episode. So you guys know I feel like anything Tom Taylor writes here on out, like I'm just going to continue to give it a shot. No matter what the character is or the storyline is. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to it with high hopes. I'm really curious to see what he does with this. So otherwise, I see the artist here, John Timms. Don't know much about him, but yeah, I'm down for this. I don't even know what other details this is about. I'm going to kind of just leave it at that, though. That's how I feel about Tom Taylor. It's going to make a top 10 list for me every time because it's Tom Taylor. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. So that's going to be my number 6 pick of the week. Superman, Son of Kilel, issue number 1. Halfway through. We are going on to number 5. And my number 5 pick is going to be Vinyl, issue number 2. This book by Image Comics. This was a trippy, very, very off the cuff book. I really enjoyed this book. I find myself finding these, like, I mean, this is a horror book, right? I mean, this is like psychotic, like serial killer type deal, where this guy it's about this guy Walter, who like has this relationship with a cop who was trying to bring him in, and then the cop got pulled in by this like what do they call it, the Sunflower Death Cult. And now Walter, I think, is going to try to save his friend, this police officer, from this death cult. And I'm just looking at like the hints of what's to come in this next one. It says, our serial killer Walter has sealed himself in an underground bunker with the Sunflower Death Cult. Now he's being hunted by an insane myriad of husks, sunflower girls, and monsters. Everything the cult can send at him. Good thing Walter didn't come alone. That's right, Walter Walter brought along some friends. So not quite sure what they're hinting towards there, because we didn't really see any friends from the first issue. So I'm curious to see what Walter has up his sleeves. But the writer here, Doug Wagner, doing an excellent job. Artist Dave Stewart, also really enjoy Dave's work here from the first issue. So looking forward to that as well. So that's my number 5 pick of the week, Vinyl, issue number 2. And then I'm going to jump into Harley Quinn, issue number 5, as my number 4 pick overall. This was close. I have to say, these last 4 coming up, they're all kind of interchangeable, I think. But I am such a fan of this series. Harley Quinn has been fantastic. Stephanie Phillips doing the writing on here. Riley Rossmo, let me just say, Riley Rossmo has come around to me. I mean, his artwork, his artwork I've really come around to over these past 4 issues that I've read from Harley Quinn. I first getting into it was like, I don't know, just like hesitant, or like, I don't know. It didn't grab me per se. And then as I started reading and getting into it, I'm becoming a fan. I went over and followed Riley Rossmo over on Instagram. He's posting like some of his commissions that he does. And now I'm like, oh man, like I kind of want one of his commission pieces, because I'm starting to really enjoy his artwork. So yeah, this is like a favorite of mine. I mean, this is my number 4 pick, but I mean, easily could be up there as a number 1 pick for me. That's how much I'm enjoying Harley Quinn. If you guys are not reading it, I do recommend going back, or maybe either at this point, maybe you wait for the trade. I don't know if this is an ongoing series per se, but I don't think it closes here. Let's see. It doesn't really say here on the listing, but either way, Stephanie Phillips doing a tremendous job. Really enjoy seeing this side of Harley Quinn. She's like battling within herself on the idea of like being a good guy, essentially, and how it just kind of feels weird to her, but at the same time, like she's like kind of working with Batman and trying to do the right thing. And yeah, it's interesting too to see here. I mean, you see Hugo Strange here in a Batman costume on the cover. So I'm curious where this goes. Where we last left off was right at the height of Harley, you know, kind of going into the laboratory trying to look for Hugo Strange and the whole setup that they have. So I won't get into the details here, but definitely I do recommend Harley Quinn if you guys are not reading it as a DC book. And again, I'm newer to DC. I say that all the time, but I'm all in on this. I really am enjoying this series. So that's my number 4 pick on the week, Harley Quinn issue number 5. Let's jump into number 3, which I have to go with Robin, another DC book. Robin issue number 4 is coming out, and oh my goodness, this is another great series. This one being written by Joshua Williamson. The artwork, Jorge Corona is doing this this particular issue. It wasn't him. It wasn't Jorge in the last issue, last series. Man, who was the last one? Do I have it here? Let's see, on the interwebs. Was it Guillaume Mark? No. Oh, it was Gleb Melnovic on the second issue. So they've been changing it around. Okay, they've been changing it around. Do we have a listing of issue 1 here somewhere? Bear with me. I'm just curious. Let's see. First one. Yeah, no, that was Gleb Melnovic as well. So this is changing up the artist on issue number 4, Jorge Corona. So, oh, you know what? Let me just see 3. Let me just see 3. Nope, that was Gleb 2. Okay, so yeah, this is changing up the artist. I don't know if this is just for a one-time thing or what their plan is or what they're doing here, but the cover here that we're looking at, that is Gleb Melnovic, but the artist here on the interior stuff is Jorge Corona. But either way, Robin, issue number 4. This series has been so great. And again, talking about DC, like that's just, I'm all in on this and have never read anything about Damian Wayne before. I know very little about his background other than just some of the obvious stuff. So this is really, really interesting. And it's, you know, Robin basically on this island right now, what do they call it? The Lazarus, League of Lazarus. It's a tournament that he's part of, and I mention this every time, but it reminds me of like the Cell games from like Dragon Ball Z. If you guys know Dragon Ball Z, he's like entered himself in this tournament where you fight to the death. But one of the rules is you can't fight at night, or you're not supposed to. You're only supposed to fight like during the trials, and otherwise they're all like buddy and pals and hanging out, all the fighters. And he doesn't quite like fit in with everybody else. And last issue, he like kind of tried to, didn't really work out because they all had talked about his dad and stories of fighting Batman, and he just didn't want to hear it, so he like went away. But he ends up in this epic battle with Hawk, and it gets crazy. So if you're not reading this, I do recommend checking out Robin. It's a really good, even if you don't read DC, same thing goes for Harley Quinn that I just talked about. If you're not a DC person, I really recommend checking these two books out because they've been very good, very good. So Robin, issue number 4, that's going to be my number 3 pick of the week. Let's jump into number 2. And this was tough. These last 2 are like literally could be 1A, 1B. But I'm going to put this as my number 2 pick. It is the Department of Truth issue number 11. James Tynion, my goodness. Martin Simmons, whew, so good. So good. This series has been wild. I love how the last issue left off. I won't get too in detail of it. However, I will say that I think that this is, I feel like the first 10 issues have really all just been this like, just really this big setup, just painting the picture of the world that we're in. And now we're getting into something deeper. At least that's what that's how I kind of envisioned from how we left off on the last issue. So, it's been a tremendous series. If you're not reading it, if you like this kind of stuff, if you like, conspiracy theories and things like that, even if you don't, if I'm not a conspiracy kind of guy, but it's such a great concept of a book. And the fact that it's James Tynion, I mean, Tynion is just killing it. He's just doing some amazing stuff. I don't think I need to say much else about this other than, you know, check it out if you haven't already, or the first trade's already out. The second trade, I think, is about to be released. Oh, and Martin Simmons, let me just say, Martin Simmons, probably my artist of the year, maybe? Like, it's up there. Like, Martin is up there. So, love what he's doing here. And this is one of his covers, but his interior work is incredible, and it really fits, at least the style that he gives us here, it really fits this this whole series. So that's my number 2 pick of the week, Department of Truth, issue number 11. And as we're winding down, before I get into my final pick, I just want to remind you all to make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I have a lot of things in the works, a lot of things coming up. I know you're watching this right now on a Thursday. Again, shout out to everybody that's in the premiere right now. Thanks so much for taking that time to hang out with me. This Saturday, I have Comic Collector Origins, going to be hanging out with my good friend Victoria, aka Read Across the Stars, interviewing her about her origin on how she got into this fantastic hobby. So really looking forward to that. And then the next weekend is Terrificon, which I've mentioned in previous videos. But if you are going to Terrificon, you got to hit me up. Let me know. Would love to meet up with you there. I'm so excited to meet the community and be able to actually hang out with people in person over at Terrificon. So that's in Connecticut, Mohegan Sun. It's the last week of this month. And so I will be there. I'll be driving in Friday night. So I'll be there all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I plan to. Really excited for that. If you're there, let me know. Like I said, hit me up via Instagram and we'll plan something at some point that weekend. So with that being said, these are my top 10 books. I'm going to get into my number one pick. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch these videos. And if you think I missed something, leave a comment in the comment section below. Remind me or give me the recommendation, because there were some other books. I had to cut them out, and I try to keep it at 10 each week. So, you know, this is just kind of where I stand with some of the books that I'm prioritizing right now. But it doesn't mean to say that I'm not buying more than these 10 digitally, you know, or waiting for the trade for some. I know like Daredevil is coming out this week coming up, which is another one I've kind of decided on just buying in trade at this point. Man, there was another title too I can't think of. Something is Killing the Children. That's another one that's coming out this week. And normally those books would be on this list, but I've decided to switch over to trades for those for the most part altogether, and just read them, you know, in one sit down. So that's why, if you're wondering why they're not up on this screen. But otherwise, you know, if there's some indie titles that you think I missed or you'd recommend that I check out, leave them in the comment section below. We'll talk about them and I'll definitely check them out. So let's get into my number one pick of the week. And this is not the first time that this book has been my number one pick of the week. This is at least, since the time that I started this, I definitely did at least one other time that this was number one. But I have to go with Shadow Doctor issue number 5. My gosh, we're finally here. We're at the end here. I can't wait. I'm kind of sad. Let me just say, I'm kind of sad because this has just been tremendous. I think that it ends here though. I do think this is it. I'm reading, yeah, I don't know if this is it or not. It's an Aftershock book, and a lot of Aftershock, they put out a 5-issue miniseries, and then either that's it for a while or that's it altogether. Peter Calloway doing the writing. If you follow this, or if you followed me talking about this series, you know his tie-in to the book, how this is about his great-grandfather, and it's based on a true story, true events. Man, I've loved this series. The past 4 issues have been incredible, each and every one. The way the story is told, there's so many different like stories within the stories, a lot of metaphors for certain things. The artwork from Georges Gianti, amazing stuff. If you're not familiar with it, it is about an African-American doctor back in the 1930s who can't get work because of the color of his skin, and tries to open up his own clinic. First, he tries to go to the bank to start his own practice, and the banks will not support him. He can't get a job at any of the local hospitals, and so he has to turn to the mob to kind of figure out what he wants to do or how he can make money. So he actually legitimately goes back. He's like partially friends with I don't know how to say I don't know if it's partially, but he knows Scarface, and so Al Capone, him and Al Capone go back, and Al Capone gives him an opportunity that he couldn't refuse. So you get into the book. It's so good. I won't get into any more details, but Aftershock, shout out to them, because they are just doing a tremendous job on everything that they've been putting out. The teams that they've been working with have been incredible. So again, Peter Calloway, shout out to him for writing this book. I am not 100% sure. I'm looking at it now, not 100% sure if this is the actual end or if this is going to be an ongoing series. I thought it was only 5 issues. Maybe I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. Man, look at that, the cover there. Welcome to Chicago. I can't wait. I can't wait to get into this. My number one, easily my number one book. Let me know if you guys are reading this. I'm curious what you think. If you're not reading this, I recommend it. I really recommend taking some time and reading, catching up, or like I said, or getting the trade, I guess, at this point, if you want to, you know, wait and just sit down and read the whole thing in one shot. But yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll find out. We'll see if this actually ends or if there's more to this series. But it's been so well done. I really hope it continues. So anyways, that's my #1 pick of the week. Shadow Doctor issue number 5 from Aftershock. Yeah. Very, very excited. So that's the list. That is my top 10 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out July 28th, 2021. I am very curious, like I said before, let me know in the comments below on what books you're reading or what books you plan on picking up. I'm always looking forward to suggestions or just if you want to talk comics, you know, always reach out to me over on Instagram as well. Again, shout out to Sean from Slim Comics and More. Put his information in the description below. He was my shout out of the week here for my top 10 picks video. So everybody here in the premiere right now, thank you so much for hanging out. As always, I appreciate it. Make sure you smash the like button on your way out and subscribe if you are new. Otherwise, I'll be back again next week. And until next time, I will talk to you later.